everybody just waiting?
I guess it looks that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. How are you, Derek?
Oh, not so bad. Glad to be around here, you know. Hopefully you're having a lovely day.
Oh yeah, it's wet. It's fine.
Oh yeah, we've had rain down here, but then all of a sudden it opened up and a little bit of sun peered through just a little while ago.
If that's any consolation, I know it isn't.
Hi, Dan. Hi, everybody. Hi,
How are
Lyle.
you?
Good. Hi, Derek.
Hey,
Hey, nice to see you, man.
yeah, as always, you haven't been around in the PSA array in a while.
You did you come down from Seattle, right?
Mukilteo myself.
Oh, okay. Well, we consider that Seattle.
Well, yes, it's a part of Seattle anyway.
Exactly.
Home of the Speedway, the Mukilteo Speedway.
Oh, there we go.
Yes, that's
Good
exactly
evening,
what.
everybody.
Hi,
Good
Lyle.
evening.
Hey, Lyle.
We're all here almost.
Well, we've got 7 of us.
Yeah, usually we have double this, at least.
Well, it depends because it's Wednesday night.
Well, my friend Dan Mertz did me a favor. I've been looking for this one radio for the longest period of time. My dad owned one. It's an old Crosley 24AJ, and he got me one. And I bid
that's
on it,
when
and it was on eBay, and I was the only bidder, and I got it. So it was
well, that's wonderful. Now, that's back when Crosley was actually a good name. Nowadays, Crosley is just a right,
somebody bought the rights
Chinese
to it.
junk.
Powell and Lewis Crosley died. Well, I'm doing a paper on it. The Crosleys, they sold Crosley Broadcasting and all that in 1945. A company called Avco bought it up.
Hmm.
Avco's the one that well, now they did a great job. I mean, they had a full TV network. When I was a kid, there was WLWI, WLWC, WLWD, WLWT. There was TV stations. They carried the Reds games, and
Oh yeah.
the Crosley's own part of the Reds, and they broadcast it, and it was quite the family. Not without its own set of neuroses, but certainly.
Oh sure, sure. Because now what you see for Crosley and Victrola are the cheap nostalgia type stereos and suitcase record players that are not worth the time and effort that they're made. They're not anything to write home about. And it's like the names, the names today aren't what they used to be. It was back in, as I know it, the later 80s, Thompson Electronics had taken over General Electric. And then a few years after that, it was Thompson took over RCA. And then the name went to hell in a handbasket.
GE is still GE. the one in Schenectady and other parts. The GE company still manufactures aircraft engines. They do a lot of interesting stuff. Most of their stuff that they did before Jack Welch took over, they've managed to recover, but they'll never recover to back to where they were before Jack Welch took over.
Yeah, and
He sold off all the parts. It's everything that the corporation can do to maintain what they have right now. It's kind of
Mhm.
sad.
It is. And, that I've always been, into the old stuff rather than the newer things, because a lot of this new stuff is junk. They don't put the time and effort or they don't take the time and effort to make sure that these things are manufactured to the standards of yesterday. They're making sure it's, how many units can we slap together and put out, send out the door. That's the way it's seeming to be.
Well, today we don't have a necessity for the kind of, we've evolved out of the Brits call it the agricultural phase, where, Henry Ford designed a car you could work on with a screwdriver and a pair of pliers. Well, you can't build a car like that anymore. Not feasible.
No, but that's the idea that I like, having something that you can actually work on, like Muntz. We all knew what he did for the electronics industry, where all he would do with his circuitry was he would put in the least amount of parts possible until the device would turn on. And once it turned on, that's it. Nothing more went into it.
Well, that was months, and that was his little
Who was
contribution
that
to the
again?
world. I worked for months for a while.
That was, as they called it, Madman Months.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's all right. I remember that now. Okay. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, because he was the one that had circuits that were very, straightforward and didn't have a lot going for it. But those were the easiest things that people were able to work on, as far as I know.
But it's just not, you can't work on your car because they've made it so it's efficient. It has to run efficiently. And you can't do it with what, you have to remember the ignition system for cars up until the 60s was invented by Arthur, the radio guy, Arthur Atwater Kent. He's the one that his engineers designed that, and they sold it to the automotive industry and made a fortune off of it before he started radios. The coil, points, spark plugs, and all that was invented by Arthur Atwater Kent. And then, but that was way long time ago, and it evolved slightly, but not until the 70s and 80s did they look at it and say, we're losing a lot of power using this 80-year-old or 60-year-old system in a car. And so it's just a matter of engineering moves on. Nothing, I mean, this generator and all that stuff was by Kettering and Delco back in 1911.
Oh, yeah.
But they use the same stuff for the.
Oh, yeah, they certainly do. And
they did. Well, they finally decided there's better ways to do it. That's where the alternator came from and everything else. It's just the way engineering is. It just moves on.
Oh, yeah. Well, the idea of the, now in the hybrid department, they started doing hybrid vehicles way back in 18,
Well,
18 something.
electrics preceded gasoline powered cars by decades.
Oh, yeah.
Baker Electric, Detroit Electric.
Oh, yeah. Baker was a big to-do, but they were trying to market the electric vehicles to the women, is what Leno ever mentioned.
And it's, you know, you can, I've actually gotten to get behind the wheel of one. I didn't drive it, but I got to get, and it's not a warm and fuzzy when you get behind one of those, because it's they're a little bit dangerous to drive. Only because if you back up, there's no control of the throttle in reverse. When you put it in reverse, it just goes as fast as it can. So you have to, there was a lot of flaws in the design, but it was nice because you didn't have the danger of being hurt by the crank. But
Oh, yeah.
all that went away. So Mike, what have you been up to?
You're talking about technology. I sent a video out. You guys should watch sometime. It's a guy, he recreated a couple different pencil sharpener ideas. If you like technology, take a look at his videos. They're unbelievable. When I grow up, I want to be just like him.
Yeah, everybody seems to want to be like somebody else that they see. But, you know, these days, the radio, yes, it has evolved, but it hasn't evolved very well. It was last week I ended up with this, it's kind of like well, is it late? Now, mid to late 2000s Radio Shack radio. And while it seems to play just fine, I think it has a digital processing chip for the tuning, because of the fact that you can barely tune it just off of the center point of the station, and it will still be pulled in before it even goes and changes over, which is really a stupid thing that they started doing with radios. Because some of those, as I remember, once you tuned off of the station, it was on to either dead air or the next station.
Hey, Brian, were you going to present tonight for us?
Yeah, I have a presentation for you.
I really appreciate you doing this. I've been so busy, I haven't had a chance to do anything. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Did you want me to start now, or I'm going to wait for more people to show up?
I'll leave that up to Franklin on how he wants to do it. What do you think, Franklin?
Okay.
Let's give it a little bit more time. Does anybody have any show and tell for today? Any radios with the theme today? If that's okay with you, Brian, I just want to
That's fine.
some later people, that way they don't miss any of your presentation.
Right, that'd be the better thing.
What was your theme today?
I've got an easy question.
Sure.
There was something on the email about people not being very interested in battery sets because they don't have power supplies. That's a challenging topic and an interesting topic, or an interesting task and a challenging task.
Yes, because you'd have to build something that is called a battery eliminator to be able to run it off of current batteries. And that's something that could be mentioned, because I think it was a couple of months ago, I believe it was Mike Engelhofer of the PSARA had showed some of the schematics for a battery eliminator, which is what you need to use if you wanted to run a lot of those older battery sets.
So I've designed one. We've talked about this in a previous meeting. I've got one sitting here. I just need to get with Blake and test it out and see how it works and make sure we have no interference. But they should be able to be put together for under $50 pretty easy, I think.
Well, sometimes the power transformer or some of the analog parts might be, they're not hard to get, but they might be more than that. But they don't have to be. If you get it, you know, if you're like me, you got a big stock of parts, it's not a problem. It's not going to cost much.
Yeah, so what I'm using is just stock parts off of Amazon. I'm using a boost converter with a real simple little wall wart for the input and some Zener diodes to create the different voltages, and seems to be working really well from here. I've been able to drive all the current. I just want to put it on a battery radio, which I don't have one. But I bought all the parts for like $40 at $30, something like that.
Well, I kind of went the other way. I got tired of looking around for plate voltage for some of the battery sets, and most of them are 100-volt plates. You know, there's nothing sophisticated about them. And I found this battery online. It was a 100-volt battery. I never seen one before.
That's
Not-
new for me too.
Well, there's this company that makes power tools called Snow Joe, and as I remember, it was 45 or 50 bucks for this thing, and it's got a very simple termination. Has just two standard clip pieces of copper sticking up. You go on them, you got plus and minus, and you got 100 volts. And I got a charger with it. They won't anymore. They don't sell you a battery without a charger. At any rate, so I got this. I can keep it charged, and literally it'll run a radio forever. I mean, with 100 volt, just a simple 100-volt source. And of course, the low voltage stuff, you know, whatever you want to use. But usually a couple of D cells takes care of the filament voltages. But it just it surprised me that there was such a thing as a single piece 100-volt battery. But then I've been around too long.
I just put a link in the chat for the boost converter. You can run it off of anywhere from
They do.
8 to 32 volts, and it'll go up to 390.
Oh yeah.
And I played with it here. It works really good. And then just put a stack of 22-volt Zeners to tap off your different voltages.
Huh.
Yeah, that should work okay.
I've been working on a couple of battery sets, but they're the small ones, not the large ones. They use the 62-volt filament voltage.
Mm. Yeah, I know that some of those old Zenith units had A and B batteries, and boy, those were, those are a pain to have to deal with.
Well, it's not too bad.
No.
I just use a bunch of 9-volt batteries and make my own 62-volt battery. Comes out a little high, but that's good. Those tubes don't care.
Yeah, tubes
Every
never
trials
care.
don't take much current.
Yeah. Though this one I was working on uses 5 C cells in series, and voltage divides it off for each one of the tubes in relationship to its voltage. A little bit, and then they have the nerve to put in a charge circuit. and don't ask me how they ever got away or why they did it, but they put in this circuit where you could actually, you had AC/DC, which is and then battery only and AC/DC, and then charge.
Oh, yes.
Well,
That-
and it
Yeah,
has a little,
that's right.
and the radio has a tag on it that says, do not leave this in the charge position for too long.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And
Otherwise,
the
you
other
may end up
thing,
with kind of
the other
battery
thing-
acid all over the place.
yeah, the other thing about the one silly thing I find that the Zenith had done is they took and they had a place for the plug to go into in the back of the radio, so that if you were using batteries, it would turn on the battery portion and allow the batteries to run, rather than having a plug that's just, you know, that's just there hanging out the back, or having to be put somewhere inside the radio.
So it's Midwest or K for today. If anybody has a Midwest radio they want to show, or one that starts with a K or has K something in it, or anything you guys want to show, I'm open to anything. If not, we'll let Brian get started if you guys are up to it. Usually Myron can come up with something. He's pretty creative. Right, Myron?
I probably have a night.
Oh, yeah, those old nights. Yeah.
I'm sure there's some of those around, yeah.
Or night kits, right?
Yeah, those nights were very ingenious of what they could do.
So Derek, are you going to be able to make it to the meeting on Saturday?
I'm going to try to find a way to be there. Living up here isn't too terrible. I don't drive myself, never had in my life. And most of the people that do live here, Pat had put out a little message asking if there might be somebody that could, you know, give me a ride down there. And then one guy piped up and said, well, what part of Vancouver does he live in? And then I piped up in that particular thing and mentioned kind of the general area. And then the conversation kind of went totally flat on its face.
So Derek, I can't help you this week because I won't be at the meeting, but in the future I'll be able to. I'm in Vancouver.
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah. That's a really nice thing. I love the area. I'm actually in the neighborhood, or the section that is 28th, or what they call Barton, where it's 28th, and it's 28th in the Evergreen section of Barton, where I'm closer, because I'm close to the Evergreen School District, because right down the street from where I live is the Evergreen School District's bus yard, as far as I found out.
You're talking about Burton, not Barton, right? Burton?
Burton, yes, Burton.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it.
We're
Yeah,
not-
because the funny
we're
thing
not
is,
too far away.
Burton, no. I'm like right at about 129th and 28th, where those, because right at the apartment building I got is, there's a traffic light dead out in front of the place, which is very handy, you know? And I like it. And right out front of the building, there's a bus stop in either direction. So I get myself around, you know. And I've been around into Portland and seen a few things there, but I haven't totally investigate Portland entirely.
All right, if everybody's good, Brian, why don't you go ahead and start then? I'll put you on the spotlight.
I'm gonna attempt to share my screen. Find the right window.
So have everybody you want to ask questions. So if that Brian has the time to talk and give his presentation. Thank you.
I'm sorry, having trouble finding the application here. It's not showing me. Oh, there it is. We tested this out earlier.
Just a quick question to Franklin. Hey, Franklin, did we get the t-shirts squared away?
No, you didn't get my message, my email about the 2X are actually larger than an XL, right? You understand that, right?
No, I didn't know that. I don't know what else to say. If they're too big, we can get them and then let them shrink. But if they're too small, I mean, we can only get as large as they have available for us.
Yeah. The problem is I don't think it's fair if if we get them, the people that need the 2X aren't going to want an XL. It's just not going to fit. So, or even a 3X, right? So I don't know.
Well, on the shirt thing, we had with the PSARA, we as a group ordered shirts, and we found the place that we were using, those shirts were a little larger than what the size really is. So there's that. So you got to be mindful of that.
Okay. Can you see my presentation now?
It's trying to start.
Is that showing up?
So Franklin, I think we probably should just go ahead with it, and it's not our fault that they don't make them any bigger than XL.
Well, it's not that they don't make them; it's just that they aren't available because actually the t-shirts were for the volunteers. So, but they ran out of 2X. So a lot of people picked the 2X.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But if you want me to go ahead and order them, they are going to cost us $20 a piece. But I'll go ahead and order them if that's what you want to do.
Well, yeah, because we promised those people, and I can't see backing out on them now.
Okay. Alrighty, I'll get them ordered then.
All right. Thanks.
You bet. Bye.
Bye.
Can everybody see my radio?
Yeah, we'll let you go, Brian.
Oh yeah, go right ahead.
So this is I'm new at this radio restoration stuff, and this was the radio I bought 40 years ago. Finally got around to doing something with it. So in this particular RCA radio, the dial at the top stays in the cabinet when you pull the chassis out. This is the cabinet without the chassis, and that's the chassis. There's no dial, no pointer, nothing. But when you want to do the calibration on this particular model, you use this round ruler, this calibration scale that's attached to the drum, the dial drum there. And then the calibration instructions indicate where to turn a dial, what degree to turn it to, and make your calibration adjustments as needed. And when I was doing the calibration, I just could not get these bands to line up with the right at the right degree. It was way off. You know, I went to the extreme ends of calibration adjustments, the oscillator adjustment, and so on, and just could not get it to line up with the right numbers. It was tuning in fine. I could listen to any radio station, and it was operating perfectly fine, but just would not align to those positions. So that was a real head scratcher for me for quite a long time. And calibration instructions have this diagram to show you the dial plate, and then at the top and bottom is that calibration angle on the drum, so you could you know, pick a frequency and know where the dial should be turned to. So there's after a while, I don't know what made me think of it, but I went and pulled the glass plate out of the box that I put it in several months earlier, and took a look at it, and then I put it next to the calibration diagram. And I don't know if you see anything wrong in these pictures. Anybody notice any different, any issue?
Looks like the scales are different.
Aha. So I was trying to calibrate according to the bottom scale. But
Yeah, the top and the bottom are different, right? The middle looks the same. Or no, even the middle is different.
yeah,
Right.
they're all different. They're all different. So it turns out there's 3 versions of this chassis. There's by the way, this is a K60, so this qualifies for the K category. The chassis model is a K60 design, but there's an RA14, R415, R415A, and R415B. And the calibration scale here is for the 415 and 415A. And what I have is a 415B. And I dug around some more, and I found the calibration instructions for the R415B, or RC415B. And it had different angles for the drum. And, you know, 10 minutes later, I had it all calibrated up and working perfectly. So what I wanted to do was I really like this. Really like this scale, because I could pick out a you know, a station, like if I wanted to tune it to 1450, listen to KPBS, I could look up on the scale and know where to turn the drum dial, and verify that everything is still in alignment, you know, up and down the dial. But I needed, I wanted a scale that would have the right positions, because this is a different scaling. And so what I did is wrote a program to create that and put the rulers on the top and bottom that were appropriately aligned with the dial. That's just another dial, random dial, just for putting it for illustration. So what I wanted to do is demonstrate the program itself to show you how it works. So let's see if I can do that.
Wow.
Gina's really bogged down with Zoom. Okay, are you seeing this application now? I hope. Uh,
I think it's redrawing.
okay, so what it does is you have to take a photograph of the dial scale, and you want the photograph has to be as square as possible, otherwise you'll have some distortion in the scale, and you may not get the right positions. But take a photograph, you load it in this application, and then you can what it does is with your mouse you click and it draws a horizontal line, and you position the horizontal line so that it goes through the markers for the different frequency positions. Once you do that, it identifies where all the markers are and then draws a line through those marks. Can you see the red lines drawn on the scale? Hope so. In this particular model, the very first dot on the left and the very last dot on the right on the A band are the degree and 240 degree marks on the dial scale, on the drum scale. And so this program will mark all those places. Now it looks at the whole image, and so it's going to create some artificial lines and stuff. At the bottom is a little signal that shows you the brightness and darkness of the image, where the line is. And that's how it identifies where to put the lines. It figures out where the little bright spots are. The application will also turn the image into a purely black and white image, which is better when you print it out. And then you can save this image as a PDF and print it out, so you can have it on your desk, on your workbench. Now, in this simple mode, it's just drawing all the markers across the entire image. But if you select this define boundary mode at the top, you can draw a bounding box, and then it will only create the lines within that boundary box. So if I set the boundaries correctly,
And you wrote this in Tickle?
Yeah. How'd you know?
Very nicely done.
Okay. You familiar with Tickle?
Oh yeah, I've written thousands and thousands of lines of Tickle.
Me too. For 30, 35 years. Okay, so now if I reset these lines, now all the lines are just within that bounding box, and it draws the rulers on the top and bottom. Let's see, they go. All the way to 240. You can also put additional lines with different colors. And I have this inverse button. Inverse is not a very good descriptive name. I haven't quite figured out a better way to define it. But if I turn this on, I can do the same thing, but instead of putting the lines between or right on those dots, it puts it between the dots. So now I have half marks. So I have a marker between the two positions. So for this would be 800 kilohertz, 820, 840, so on. And then the inner between would be 810, 830, so on. Yeah. Let's see. And then I can export as a PDF. If I here. This was one I did earlier. I don't know where it went. So there's the PDF, which I can then print out easily. So that's the software. That's my I couldn't save it. I have this built. It's a single standalone executable. I have a Windows version, a Mac OS version, which is the one I'm running here, and a Linux version. And if you want a copy of it, bring a thumb drive to the meeting Saturday, and I can give you a copy. Are there any questions?
Very nice. It's a lot of work for a one-off thing, but I've done that myself many times. That's really awesome.
Yeah.
So I got a question.
Sure.
Is this, can you put in any radio's tuning dial scale into this program and get this kind of output?
Yeah, just take a picture of the dial, dial plate, and then up here in the top there's a max rotation. So it starts at 0, and you can set it like 0 to 180 or 0 to whatever the rotation ratio is for your drum. Some are direct dials, so it would only be 0 to 180 or 160 or whatever it is. This particular model has a gearing, so that's why it goes up to 240, even though the gang capacitor is was only going like 180 degrees or less. But yeah, you can set the range of what this ruler is from 0 to whatever number you put up here.
What is the purpose to print out a new dial plate that you're going to put on your radio that has these sub markings on it that you can use to line up your dial pointer with?
That wasn't the intent. The intent is just to have the paper on the bench if you want to. If you have a radio where the chassis gets separated from the dial plate, you can use the drum. You know, if you have that scale on the drum, then you can just turn the drum and have a pointer where the current position is. Be able to map.
So the nice thing is if you don't have if you've got your radio out without a scale, take a picture of this, even if it's not a radio like his that had the scale on it, you could map the broadcast frequencies to an angle, and then all you would need is just a compass or something, around or a protractor equivalent around the dial, and then you would know what the frequencies are based on the angular location. Is that right, Brian?
That's correct. That's exactly right.
Aren't there some tuning capacitors that are built with differently shaped plates, so you don't necessarily have the same angular, to frequency relationship?
But that's the beauty of it. The rotation is linear, and the scale that's on your front of your radio is nonlinear. You can see, like here, the dots down at the low end are very far apart, but they get closer together as you go up. And that's because it's, because of that plate meshing, it's a nonlinear relationship. But that's
right.
That's the beauty.
Yeah.
But each tuning capacitor gang is somewhat different in the way that compression occurs.
Yeah, but that's the nice thing about the way he's done that here, because by taking a picture of the scale, any nonlinearity is encompassed in the scale, and then he just draws the vertical red line showing you what angle each one of those frequencies are. So it has nothing to do with linearity. If he wants 1300, he just has to look down and say, that's what 186 or something like that. And so it really, that the scale is going to be correct relative to the capacitor. And so that's all that matters. He's just giving you an angular number down here that you could apply to your dial in a angular way.
I see.
Yeah, you're presuming that the dial was made by the manufacturer is more or less accurate.
Correct.
That's true. You're depending on whoever created the artwork for that dial, how accurate they calibrated it.
Which we hope that's good,
And again, you're not dealing with a lot of precision here either, right? I mean, so you can be off by probably 50 hertz or so, but it's going to get you really close.
Yeah, it's close enough that I was able to snap right onto WWV, for example, at what was it, 15 megahertz, just up here, just by setting the angle.
Did you use TK for the graphics, or did you use something different? That doesn't look like TK.
It is TK 8.7.
Oh, okay.
Hasn't even been released yet.
Very nice.
I'm in the Tickle TK open source community. I work on the source code.
Okay.
Well,
we should probably talk some more offline. That's really exciting.
Going to show you. This is the dial on this. This is the radio here. It's kind of sideways at the moment. But if I can get some light on it. I have this ruler set up here and a little clear plastic piece that has a mark on it. It shows me where the angle is. I can dial this around. So that's on my to-do list, is to add the ability to add to the printout that's linear scale, in a circle of whatever diameter you want. So if that was part of the PDF, you could print that out, cut it out, and paste it onto your dial. So that's something I'm thinking about adding next. I haven't done it yet.
Great job.
Yeah. Really fine computer programming work.
Thank you. I plan on being at the next meeting with, I'll bring my computer so we can copy the program over if you want it. That's all I have.
Franklin, do you have anything else?
Nope, it's up to you or anybody else.
We could go into our random discussions, or talk about whatever, the floor is open.
How's Hawaii, Mark?
Nice. It's it's cloudy right now and about 80 degrees outside.
Ours is every other day. It rains every other day. So it rains hard yesterday.
Oh, you had rain. You said you had rain every other day. So, okay.
Yeah, we've had a bit of rain, yes.
Yeah.
And it's been off and on right now, but this coming week, we're supposed to get a few days where it's supposed to rain pretty good.
How you doing, Warren?
Pretty good, pretty good. Been
Good to see you.
downsizing my herd of cows. So I can go out and play more.
Does that mean you got extra hamburger and steaks in the freezer?
They soon will be.
That'll be just delectable.
Thank you, Brian, by the way. I sure appreciate it. That's good programming. You're awesome.
Thank
And
you.
well, that'll be very useful, sure.
So this coming Saturday, there's going to be a solar eclipse in Oregon. It starts at 9:15 a.m. So I'm not sure. Our meeting will start at 9:30. Franklin, do you think maybe we should take a break and start the meeting after?
You're gonna miss it. You're
Yeah,
gonna miss it, Pat.
Yeah, we're gonna miss it because we've got clouds that are supposed to show up.
No, maybe Eugene will see a little bit of it. It's way down.
Well, if
Oh,
it's
okay.
total,
It won't come up here.
Won't we get a partial?
I don't believe you will. It's Eugene, maybe gets a little. You can go online and look at the projected eclipse path, and you'll see Salem doesn't even get it.
Oh, okay.
It's about Eugene.
South of you.
He's a little bit for a few seconds,
South
but
of
no, it doesn't come up this high.
Shame.
Not this one. But yeah, like I say, you can go Google that and look at the shadow.
Right.
I think it's about Eugene is where it maybe see a few seconds of it or something at the last of it.
You guys are talking about the totality, but if you put a pinhole camera together, or if you go outside and look underneath a tree, if it's sunny out, you'll be able to see a moon-shaped sun. Even in Seattle, you'll see a partial.
Not according to the graph or the show. It just says it's not going to cover this part of the United States. It's just the Google search.
Yeah, it won't even come up as far as Portland.
No, I think it doesn't even go to Salem. It's about down at Eugene.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. I guess we won't interrupt the meeting for that.
Yeah, it goes, it hits Medford at least.
It's gonna be rainy anyway.
Yeah, and that's a shameful thing. But I know the Fort Vancouver Library was doing stuff for the eclipse. So they were.
Yeah, you can watch it live on YouTube.
No, that too, yes.
If you want to see it, but I like the last one. Last one was great.
Yeah, I was in Salem for that. That was really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I went into the Columbia River Gorge and it was great. I mean, it was a really, really big experience actually. Everything
Oh,
got so
that's
quiet.
something.
The birds stopped chirping. It got cold.
Yeah, that's the thing that surprised me. It got cold.
Quite the deal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so my point is that, yeah, the zone of totality is like that, but
Yep.
way outside of that, you'll get a very big, partial. And even in Seattle, you'll see, yeah, it'll be down to a crescent, but that's going to be noticeable. So it's worth going outside and checking it out. Even if you're in San Diego, you're going to be able to see some effect.
With all the rain, it'll just be dark and get darker.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
No, Gary
Yeah.
said if you live in San Diego or if you want to fly down there.
Uh-huh. I used to live in San Diego, that's why I mentioned that.
Yep, Balboa Park.
We'll see the clouds get darker.
Right.
All right, well, I'm gonna take off. Thanks a lot. Great job, Brian. I appreciate it.
Oh
Thanks for
yeah.
coming.
That was great. Yeah.
Well, Pat, did you want to show the auction items or?
Yes, he does.
Let me see if I can. Let me see
Maybe
if I
he
can
does,
get to
maybe he
them.
doesn't.
They're
Go right
coming
ahead,
right up.
Pat.
Hey, we want to
They'll
get as
be-
much as possible. So
Yeah, they'll be there on Saturday. And then
No.
we have a Zoom meeting. So Derek, if you don't make it to the meeting, Franklin puts it on Zoom.
Oh yeah. I can always
link is it'll be the
where
same.
I need to be.
And Franklin
let-
will talk to you.
All right, I'm sharing. Does anyone see this?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh, a reel to reel. Ooh. Hmm.
So,
And Derek, we do online bidding too.
Hmm.
So if you saw something you wanted, you could pick it up when Mike, takes you there or whatever.
Yeah.
okay,
And oh, a woolen sack. Oh, I haven't seen one of those in God knows of how many years. But the last time I saw a woolen sack, it was a big monster that had it was a big, huge suitcase type thing that had the speakers with it. The speakers that you could detach from it. And it was real nicely restored as far as I could tell, because the guy that was doing this garage sale used to be he used to be in repair, electronics repairing.
Some of it.
Okay, so this is number one. I was told to put this in here because they said that a Wallensack was supposedly might be considered a nicer reel-to-reel, higher end, but I don't know. So I don't know if
Yes, they are pretty nice for what they are. It was guess a joint venture with 3M as far as I could see of it.
okay, so that's number one. Number two, someone said they knew what this was.
I didn't need any more.
Star Roamer.
Night Sky Roamer, but it's in a
It-
homemade wooden case.
Yeah, because they had a metal cover for them. That's the way the
Okay.
kit was.
Well, it's naked
I
under
need
this
more.
wood case.
Right.
So I don't know if that's going to be desirable or not.
Well,
And-
is that a Skyroamer 1 or a Skyroamer 2?
That'd be the original one. That's the one with tubes.
Yeah, so that's the more desirable one.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
The second one was solid state.
they weren't great performers though. But anyway, yeah, they're neat kits. My
Yeah, some of these-
neighbor kid had one. I always like, oh wow. I had a
Okay, well-
Grandmaster, which
Well, one of the ideas of night, or one of the nights that I'd ever seen, was one of the very odd nights that it was where it had FM on one channel and AM on the other channel, which was really an odd thing. I never heard of an actual tuner being, divided right down the middle, and one, the FM playing in the left
late
channel.
50s. Yeah, they did that in the late 50s. So they simulcast.
Yeah,
Early stereo before they had before multiplexes really taken on. They did simulcast AM and FM.
yes.
Yeah.
They did do that for a little while around here. One of the stations, I think, if it still does, I know, no, it was Cairo did for a little while, but I know Como had done that, and they still do that to this very day, as far as I know, because they have their AM broadcast and their FM broadcast both together.
Yeah, but that back then it was because they get the left and right channels.
Right.
They don't do that anymore.
No. But anyway, a tube tester. Ah.
So, not probably a great one, but it will end up in the auction. Maybe someone needs it.
Oh, sure. Oh, a sharp cassette deck. Ah. That's kind of your basic, cassette deck. If somebody needs to play tapes, there you go. You got yourself, a little, a Kenwood. That's a little bit of a next step up. But it's kind of like, this is getting towards the end of the era of cassette decks, as far as I know. Oh, an 80s Luxman tuner. Oh, for heaven's sakes. I've only ever come across one Luxman in my time, and it is owned by a friend of mine that bought his new, and all it is an FM tuner. He had the amplifier that went with it, but that amp is long gone. But the Luxman, those tuners are extraordinary, in my opinion.
Okay.
A surround receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, Comtech. Looks like it's a MA72. Huh. Whatever
Yeah,
it
I'm
could
not
be.
sure that
Probably a
is.
power supply.
I would have thought that would have been a power supply.
Looks kind of like it.
Yeah. Oh, an antenna rotator. Yeah, that's what you find in some of the older homes that would have an antenna on the roof. Now this is, oh, okay, that's a frequency analyzer, okay. Yeah. Lots of good stuff. A little dusty, but still, it's some of this stuff could be worth a pretty penny. Oh, a Kenwood. Oh, for cripes. A KR44. Haven't seen that. Oh, but that was a nice receiver too. Hmm.
Aha, Packard Bell.
5R1.
Yes. Now I'll tell you,
Okay.
what I'll tell you, for the longest time, it was in the storeroom of where I used to live with my parents. Well, what now is my mother's place. There used to be this Packard Bell TV, this big giant console TV that was in the storeroom for the longest time.
If the
And
speakers.
this thing was giant, and it looked pretty good, but whoever stuffed it there left it there.
No pressure.
What I like about this one is the numbers are backwards.
Yes, I do have my Grundig that I have, my 58 or 59 Grundig 2066 is backwards. That's exactly what. The tuning on it is opposite of what you usually see on a radio.
Some of these have plastic dials, some of them have metal.
Oh,
face
yeah,
plates. I think this one's metal.
could be. But metal always seems to hold up better than the plastic or the other radio, like your cloth and such.
Yeah, I think this one's a metal one.
It's a fun, not a 5-hour one.
Oh, I know exactly what that is. That's an old Uniden police scanner, which basically, to be in the honest side, not to bring it down or anything, it's still usable to a degree, but all your police frequencies, most of them, are all in the 800 section, and they've all gone to a digital frequency in the P25 area. So there's still people out there that will use these old scanners for certain things that it will pick up, but your police frequencies in Portland and Vancouver are on P25, and you need to spend a couple of hundred just to be able to obtain an actual P25 scanner. Oh.
Bunch of microphones, I think, a holder.
That might be, yeah, I think that, microphones, those are always handy for whoever needs them. Oh, a box of radios.
Transistor radios.
Wow. Western, Hoffman, Nobility. Wow.
I think the Nobility is new in the box, looks new.
Yeah. Well,
18 blue one is non-transition. It actually has tubes in it.
oh, that just spikes the interest. Because you don't see a lot of the portable ones like that with the tubes too often.
Yeah, and it's got a blue plastic case, and I think the blue plastic case is not chipped, cracked, or burnt. So that'll be interesting.
That will be.
Here's a couple of radios. Both of these are cracked. This one has a small crack on the top edge, and you probably can't see it too well, but this part is good. This white part, you can see there's a crack right there by the arrow, and on this side too. Someone, I think, dropped it hard on its face, and it cracked it here and over here. I think you can kind of make out some of the crack.
It's a Zenith though, right?
Oh yeah.
Ah, a turntable.
Yeah, but this is a direct drive, so we decided to put it in there. I'm not good at the prices on these, so it's kind of like, here, should we put this in or put it on the freight
Well,
table? And so I was
well,
told this is a direct drive, so this
yes.
might bring a couple dollars.
It might. It depends. Direct drives are very reliable because the direct drives seem to keep their speed dead on, as far as I know. Since I run a lot of, I have a linear that is a direct drive, and that thing is true as can be.
Yeah, they usually have a strobe on them.
Yes, they do have a strobe. Yes, some of them do, but not all of them. Because mine, while it has the light on it in the back, it doesn't have the strobe piece for it. But
you have some form of a calibration knob, don't you?
On that one, I don't think there was. The turntable is a Sony PSLX510. And
You said it was a Sony?
Yes.
Was it good quality?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they should have put some kind of calibration somewhere.
They could have, but it's in the line that it's under. I found that it's not the bottom of the line, which there's one model below this one, but then there is a couple of models above this one, which is not too bad. Oh, a sweep generator. Oh.
I think this is mostly for TV, so I don't think this is going to go for much money.
No. It's only, wait a minute. I already know somebody who would want something like that. Oh, it's the one guy from PSARA. And he's the one that went to MIT too.
Well, we have online Zoom bidding.
It's Matthew.
Yes.
I would imagine Matthew probably has this already, but
I don't know if he does or doesn't, but he's like anything TV related, he's all over it.
This one might go for a couple bucks. It even has the original brochure here, their manual.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I think possibly Julia's coming down and she might be at the meeting this Saturday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think she was going to drop something off to Derek.
Yes. What it was is I won a few things at the PSARA auction. One of them happened to be an older Sony, just a little transistor radio. And then there was a Sony Watchman TV, which I'd been wanting to get my fingers on a Watchman for God knows of how long. But finding those things is like finding a needle in a haystack, if you think about it.
So is this a late 7,000 or?
I don't know how to tell.
I mean, it says transoceanic, but I don't recognize
It might be either on the back or it could be in the manual itself as to what model it is.
Myron, I think it's a 7000R.
That's what I'm thinking. It's Taiwan, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, definitely got
Uh,
Taiwan markings on the back.
Yeah, it's the last transoceanic.
Is this a good one or a
Okay,
bad
so
one?
yeah, it's the last transoceanic before they killed off the line.
Yep.
So is this something we should put in the free table or is this something that's auctionable?
I think it's auctionable.
It
Okay,
is, to a degree.
oh, okay. All right, we'll see. Now, some of the stuff came in late. This was a member of OTAPS wanted to donate this to the auction, and I was going to put this on the free tables, but since he wants it in the auction, it's going to go in the auction. I doubt it'll go for more than $1 or $2.
Yeah, because you don't know what these chassis are actually from. And you
Well,
don't.
the top one's a Zenith. The lower left one's a
Okay.
Philco, probably, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think one of these is a GE then.
Yeah, it's
That
hard
would be
to
the one
tell.
in the middle. Yeah.
Okay, not big buck items.
No, they're not.
This is something else that was going to be in the auction. It's looks like it's a Remmler drum dial kit, new in the box. And then here's the digital volt OHM millimeter.
Oh, so it's a, yeah, it's one of
The
those
OM.
things.
The
Okay.
OM.
A pair of stereo speakers. And I guess that's it.
So not a whole bunch of things, but you know, at least it's something to get things going.
Yeah, I think here. I believe I sent this out to everyone, link to the pictures and everything. So let's look at that.
Yeah, because I do happen to like that old woolen sack myself.
Okay.
Oh, I see. It says R7000 for the Zenith. Yeah.
Okay. So that's
Yeah.
what. So the woolen sock is a 6150.
Okay, that's not too bad. You know, they're pretty good units. They may, you know, some people may go bid on it. Some people may not.
Okay, I'm done with that. Does anyone else want to see the spreadsheet or any other pictures?
Whatever you'd like to do, Pat, it's up to you.
Okay.
Yeah, what do you have?
What?
What do you have that you have to show?
You mean for the show and tell tonight?
That's possible, but for the spreadsheet and the other, you said you had something else.
Oh, no, I just meant that those are the only items that are in the auction. That's the spreadsheet. The other stuff that was donated is going to be dumped on the free table.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's always nice to have a free table.
Oh, we have a free table, Derek.
Oh,
So
you
if you're
better believe
if you're a
I-
collector and
Oh,
an
yeah.
accumulator, then we
Well,
have plenty of
that's
stuff.
that's my thing. But you see, the free table of PSARA was kind of moot. It kind of
Yeah,
was
well, ours
very-
is. Ours is. Do you like do you like consoles?
A console? Well, I've never owned a console. Well, actually, come to think, I only had one console stereo in my life, and it was a 70s electrophonic. But the thing of it was every living piece of equipment on that was functional, right down to the BSR changer. That was the rim drive changer, because it used because those BSRs were ones that used an actual wheel like you'd find on a cassette deck, you know, but a bigger wheel to drive the platter. And that thing even worked. I hated to have to lose it, but it fully worked. Even the 8-track recorder was functional.
Yeah, most of our consoles are older, well, quite a bit older than that.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, I know that. But a console, if it worked out, I might think of it.
There's some real pretty ones there. They go for quite reasonable usually.
Oh yeah, the Grundig I got off of Jim Giannakis. That one I paid like $95 for.
You'll be happy if you come to our club.
Oh sure. You better believe that. You better believe that. Because that Grundig, that thing, I had to do nothing to it. You know, I brought it home, plugged it in, turned it on, and it's happily playing.
Well, we have a lot of radios at our club that need fixing.
I could see that too.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff, but there is a lot of things that keeps you busy.
Oh yes, that's something that I need to have, is something that'll keep me busy for a while.
If you like free stuff, man, some of our stuff on the free table, I mean, we've had so much of it. It's just unbelievable. Do you guys agree with that? All the stuff that came up free in the trash bash. And
Yeah.
Pat. There's been a lot of, and you missed the Aurora, and there was about 3 free tables there, and they just kept filling up.
Yeah, because one thing I ended up with, or it's actually a couple of the first few years, I don't know exactly, I didn't totally dive into them, but I've got a couple of years of the magazine that is Byte, the first computer magazine that was ever out. And I've got the first issue of it, and I was looking around online to see what it really, if these had any value, because I'd never seen Byte magazine directly. I only heard it referenced in the old computer show that was called Computer Chronicles, because they were sponsored, one of the sponsors was Byte magazine. So naturally, Mike had we got into a discussion one day, and Mike says, "Oh yeah, I've got a whole bunch of Byte magazines. You can have them." I'm like, "Oh good, I'll take those." And
when was the first computer available to the public?
The first computer available to the public, I think, must have been the KIT Altair 8080, but I might be wrong, but I know the first video game console was the idea was actually made back in the 60s, which it was called a brown box, which the idea then got sold off to Magnavox, which produced the Odyssey.
And what you said through the 60s?
The 60s, back in the mid to late 60s, a guy created this video game console that was called the brown box. And the first actual home console was derived from that brown box, because the guy sold off the idea to Magnavox, and Magnavox made what was called the Odyssey. There you go. There's a little bit of history. But anyway, let's see, what else do I have in my collection of everything else?
What was Julian or Julia bringing to you?
There was a little Sony portable Sony radio, and then there's also the Sony Watchman that I got off of the auction that we had in September for PSARA.
Was that Shoreline?
No, that wasn't Shoreline. That was our September auction. That was an auction that we did that wasn't our formal auction. It was just an auction that we decided to do. It wasn't the swap meet in August. So it was something that we did, and it turned out that we had a few people grabbing onto things, because some of it was great and some of it wasn't. But I had a bidding war with Matthew on a few things. I'm like, well, I wanted that Watchman bad enough, and I started bidding up on him, and then I got it up to, I'm like, he says, Matthew says 25, and I'm like, Nick, I want this bad. Do I justify it? I'm debating it, Nick, and I say 30, and I got it. A Watchman TV is not very, in this day and age, it's not something you see every day, because the Watchman TVs are long since gone out of favor. Because
I have a small Casio handheld.
Yes, the Casios, right? The Casios were almost like a Watchman.
But I don't know what to do with it. It works, but now that TV's gone digital, it's
well, as it is, Matthew was mentioning that you can use a digital converter with those if it has the right stuff for it, or you can get what is called a blunder tongue modulator, which is all it does is it broadcasts a video signal over whichever channel you select.
no, probably channel 3 or something.
No. The blunder tongue modulator will do the whole television band, the whole thing. So you can choose so like say you want a VCR playing, you can set it up so that the VCR could be, one VCR could be off a channel, like say 6, and this thing over, and like the next channel could be 24.
Wow, that's so it converts digital to analog.
No. It's totally analog entirely. But what it will do is it will take any signal that you push to it, and it will broadcast that out on whichever channel you select for it. And it's something that is low power enough that the FCC, allows it to be usable by people that may have an old TV that they would like to watch their movies and all this stuff.
And that was called a what?
A blunder tongue modulator. Let me just let's see. Let's pull up and see what they're going for on eBay. Let's see. Let's see what we've got here. I didn't spell that. Let me see. Well, okay, I'm blundering.
Is that blunder tone
Blunder
current?
tone.
Is it current or is that a vintage or an old piece of equipment also?
As far as I could say, they were an older thing, but they do have they, as I see, they may have newer ones, but I'm not 100%.
Yeah,
But-
you should see it up on eBay if it's current.
Yeah, let me see.
But if it's something older, then
Yeah, but
maybe
they're,
it's still gonna become obsolete also.
oh, sure, but this thing's become obsolete, but there are still people that actually buy these things because they want to use them with their vintage TVs.
Oh yeah, sure. It's like I still play VHS, but it's hard to find one, a player.
In my case, when back at home, I left a VHS machine with my mother, and I left a Betamax machine and a whole load of beta tapes. But I would never throw out any of those beta tapes because there's stuff on that you won't see ever again. You know, like old commercials of the 80s, television broadcasts from the 80s. And somewhere in that matter, there's a very, very, very early television broadcast of Buckaroo Banzai that somebody recorded. I'm like, what the? That movie's only 2 years old. They're already broadcasting it on regular TV. Let's see.
There's going to be 2 Betamax players on the free table, along with a DVD player and probably a couple of VHS players as well.
Hey, wait a minute. I will take one of those things.
Maybe Julia can do a 360 for you and pick it up and then drop it off on our way back up.
Yeah, but Julia didn't know when she was coming down. She didn't say, because I spoke with her last Friday before our Friday night builds, and it was kind of a quick thing. She didn't say when she was coming down.
No. She shows up at our meetings here and there.
Oh, yeah. But in my case, the one beta that I left with my mother, that one is it's a rebadged Sanyo. I know that for 100% fact. It's a Sears rebadged as a Sanyo. And how I ever found that out was the first Sears I ended up with, which was the same exact thing, same exact model. I had to replace a belt in it. And I found a belt that was out of something else, that the belt was no good for that other thing anymore. Or no, it was the cassette deck was bad, and I took the belt from it. And I opened up this Betamax, and I'm like, wait a minute. This is actually a Sanyo. What the? I was
Mark,
really.
Mark, did you ever own a beta? Did you own a laser disc?
Yes, I have Laserdisc.
Well,
I've got Laserdiscs. When I moved down here.
you're on mute, Mark.
Hello? Anybody? Anybody
Yeah,
else?
we're waiting. Mark's on mute.
Oh, yeah, no, I never had a Betamax, never had a Laserdisc. I had a
But you had
DVR recorder,
VHS.
no, DVR.
Oh, but
And
never
VHS.
VHS?
I had VHS hi-fi and I had a DVR.
Not a
Oh,
VHS camera?
Nope.
but in my case, when I moved down here to Vancouver, I was not going to leave my laser discs behind. I took most every last one of them with me.
Yeah, the
Except
first
the
time I
one-
saw a laser disc on a TV, it was like it was so clear and clean compared to tape. I was like, whoa, but it was about a
Yes.
12-inch disc, I think.
Now, if you didn't know, there is, I think it is, it's in the movie Airport 1977 or Concord 7. No, it's got to be 77. In that movie, there's a laser disc player on the airplane. Now, the lady, if you didn't know, on the airplane in that movie, the stewardess pulls out this tray, this little shelf that contains a laser disc player. She puts in a laser disc that contains a pre-recorded message from, I think it was, must have been Charlton Heston that was in that movie that did the message for it. But that was the first time that a laser disc was used anywhere, because laser discs came out in 1977. But the first actual movie that was ever released on Laserdisc was Jaws.
Yeah, you have to tell that to all these tube radio guys.
I should say a little bit of history. I'm a little bit of a talkative one. Don't mind me about that. I know a little bit of history. But,
Well, everybody does. I mean, that's the contributing thing, that everybody has an interest and everybody knows something about something somebody usually doesn't know.
oh yeah, because my first Laserdisc player was a 1982 Pioneer, and that one actually used a gas laser. The first ones used a gas laser before they went to a regular laser that we commonly know today.
Light generated diode or whatever they're using.
Yeah.
How do you know, Mark, how they create laser? What laser light?
I don't remember specifically. It's one of those things that
I don't know either. I didn't just look into it, I guess you'd say. I just accepted it, just like a telephone or a TV wave or whatever. I just turned it on and it worked.
Now
I didn't study how to make it.
Oh, sure. Now the
But a laser is a big deal.
oh
I mean,
yeah.
they've got extremely powerful lasers apparently now that they can mount on a battleship that actually works. Shoot down.
Yeah, but that's not. Those aren't LEDs though, or light. Those aren't.
Well, no, it's a laser, they say, and I don't know what a laser.
No, but those are a whole different class of lasers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying there's laser and there's light bulbs and everything.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of things, but
there's different types of bulbs or light or light gases or whatever. They light it up, neon and argon or whatever they do. I don't know.
If you wanted to get technical of it, we did get into a little bit of a discussion about that very thing on Friday. we got into
Like I
a,
said, I'm curious because I don't know about laser, but it's being used for pin laser, pocket lasers. Your cat chases the laser. You got a laser that reads a digital disc. You got a laser that shoots down missiles.
oh,
So
sure.
I don't know. I don't know enough about it.
Yeah, but it's a big to do. Let's see.
Oh,
what else?
Mark, did you get any smoke over your way or not?
From what?
Fire. Maui.
No, 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 no. That wasn't anywhere near here.
Oh yeah.
That was up in
Well,
Maui.
pardon me?
No. Yeah, I remember trade winds don't go that way. So no,
Okay.
it was
Didn't blow your way.
no. And we had a little eruption from Kilauea, then that stopped and the air is all clear, nice crystal clear again. So it's
Yeah, we've had nice clear air here, especially today. Of course, it rains a little bit, clears it out, and then the sun popped out for a few hours. Nice air, nice clear in the upper 60s at the most, and then so it was a pleasant work day.
yeah,
Work
it's
day.
no, it's like I say, since Kilauea shut back down again, it's all nice crystal clear air. So
Mhm. So how do the wind? Did they blow to the east where you're in Kailua or what?
well, wait a minute.
Southeast?
No, usually
Southeast?
the trade winds blow out from the east to the west, and so in fact that was what they had going on was there was high pressure north and east of the islands. It was pretty strong, and then the hurricane went way south of the islands, but that's low pressure, and so that was the cross that so there's low pressure
Then
to
it
the
sent it down
southwest and
northwest.
northeast there's high pressure, and that's why the trade winds were extraordinarily high, and so they were getting like maybe 65-mile-an-hour winds or something like that up there, and you can imagine you spark a fire, that's you're toast.
Yeah, I mean, we heard about the big deal. I watched a little YouTube
Yeah.
on the people that live there and have the connection, and the family owned, for years and years and years,
Yeah.
or passed
Oh, yeah.
down. So they got all emotional about whatever it was. You had to hear the emotion to go with it.
Oh, sure. Like in Lindsey Buckingham, or I guess it was, he lost a restaurant over there. And that was a shameful
That's
thing.
not a family Hawaiian.
No, but
That's a somebody else kind of deal, I'm sure.
oh yeah,
It's
but there were,
it's like, I got the money, I'll buy it. Mhm.
yeah, but as it was, he ended up losing a restaurant.
Yeah, I used to live in Hawaii, and Hawaiians are Hawaiian.
Oh, sure. But
They're Hawaiian, and
yeah,
they stick to being Hawaiian.
But when that particular fire happened, it was the worst thing you could ever think of.
Yeah, well, I saw a bit of this and that, and heard about it from some people that were living there, and then heard
Yeah,
about
sure.
the other whoever that like come in on the tourist money.
Oh yeah. But anyway, let's see. Oh, as I was going to mention probably earlier, my receiver that I use is it's a 1977 Harman Kardon twin powered. And Harman Kardon was the first company to ever come up with twin powered. What that entails is that each channel has its own transformer and its own chips that run each channel. So like your left channel has its section and the right channel has its section. So that way, if there's a problem, you can say, okay, I now know where to look.
How old are you, or what year were you born, Derek?
I was born in '86, the day the Challenger exploded.
Our radio club seems to be very interested in most things not past, I would say, 1970.
I could see that, but I enjoy a lot of things in my case. I like all the old stuff more than I do a lot of the newer things.
Well, it's all important, I think, to have a broad interest.
That's right, you know.
That's why I've learned so much just going to the club, and and other people have their interest, and I learn way more than I ever knew, because they're interested in what they're interested in, and they
Oh,
tell
yeah.
the history, and I'm learning so much that I never knew.
Oh, sure. Oh, sure. We all learn from each other, you know. Man, I tell you, that
Yeah,
grunge.
so I
Go
think
ahead.
you'll like the club, and if you like free tables and auctions, we have really nice auctions.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I do like all that stuff, and I enjoy all the knowledge that I learned from all this old radio stuff.
And we have some instruction at the class.
Oh, that's always a good thing, you know?
Yep. That's what it's about. And do you work on radios?
I started to, my first radio that I ever started to try to work on, but ended up giving it up, was a 1940 Philco. It was just a small, it was almost the point that it could be a portable, but it was a smaller, really small kind of tabletop piece that had a handle on the top of it. And when I got it, somebody had painted the darn thing white. And I'm like, why would anybody in God's name paint this thing white? It's beyond me. And what I started doing with it is I tried to, at the time I didn't know about properly stripping off the paint from the
Yeah,
veneer.
you'll learn to ask, our club members, because people know, or pass on their journeys. They pass on that knowledge, and would probably be able to recommend
Oh,
how
yeah.
to do things.
Yeah. Because what I did at the time is I just decided to start stripping that radio back, and I stripped off the original, besides taking off all the white that somebody painted on it. I stripped it all back, and I had then decided to stain the thing, since the veneer pieces were basically all, I guess you could say they were non-existent at this point. So it had no shine on it. So I decided, well, I'll just stain the thing the color that it originally was. And I did. But then after so long of having it, the radio then ended up, the speaker in it started sounding blown, which I knew it wasn't, but it was still receiving stuff just fine. But I gave it
Yeah,
up.
we have radios also that people have rebuilt for sale at the club, or they come up on the auction.
Oh, yeah, that's always a
So,
nice, that's always a
but
fun thing.
we do have instruction too, and that's the good thing about it, is if you're interested in learning, there's right now they're working on, they call an American 5.
Oh, yes, that was like late 50s, early 60s. And
Yeah.
that is a design that stuck around for God knows of how many years. And an All-American 5, the design stayed the same the whole entire life of any radio that used that particular design.
Yeah, those are mainly what's going on now with the technical talks is the American 5. And Franklin, do you store those on YouTube? The Zoom meetings?
Yeah, some of them. I edited them.
Yeah.
And then,
So you could go up, Franklin gives you information on how to find them on YouTube. You could start out where our instructor started the class, or the instructors on that American 5.
Wow.
And they're trying to get people at a point where they can start and kind of understand how the process of simple radio worked.
Yeah, because the All-American 5 was the most simple design that was ever thought of. And every manufacturer of radio at the time, in the late 50s, early 60s, had taken the All-American 5 design and ran with it. And every radio that was made had that design, most of them, which if it was a little, like a clock radio, it would have it. If it was a little portable, it may be an All-American 5. And you knew exactly how to work on it because every one of them was exactly the same.
Yeah, anyway, you might enjoy going back on the YouTube videos because they start out with, of course, safety.
Oh, yes, we all know that. You never work on something unless you know what you're doing, number one. And number two, make sure every capacitor in that thing is dead. Because you do not want to get zapped by one of those things.
Well, but anyway, that might be some interest that you would look at the
Oh,
YouTube
yeah.
videos, because we've already had those classes.
Oh, sure.
And then we have more that are coming up, of course.
Oh, yeah. And I love to learn. That's my cup of tea or coffee
Yeah.
in these cases.
So if you weren't able to get to the meeting, of course, we have the Zooms.
Oh, sure. And at least since when I joined PSARA at the time, I had not missed a single meeting being in that club. I was always there, and Rich could attest to that.
Yeah, I don't know how far out the max goes, and then it probably transfers to a bus, but I don't know how close we
Actually,
get
what it is, I
to
looked it
our
up.
club.
Well, see, for your club, being in Vancouver,
Yeah, I don't know if it gets to our club, the buses or anything.
it does, but it takes about 2 hours just to go from here to there by bus, which is the way it seems to be.
Well, they have a Milwaukee Max. I mean, a Portland till Milwaukee Max, which is the train.
Yes,
and then you have to transfer it. I don't know if there's a bus that gets down how close to us. I haven't
Derek,
seen buses.
it's difficult to get there by bus. It is.
Pardon? You can?
It's pretty difficult. I mean,
Yeah.
because it doesn't actually go to the Grange.
Well, I know that, and
goes
even if it
close
went to
to
the
it.
gas station
It
or
doesn't go to
Home Depot or
the
whatever.
closest
there's
bus
Home
goes to the
Depot.
transit center, basically. That's like on that area. The 79 goes. It's still too far to walk, really.
Yeah.
So the best way is if you apply for the Lyft system in Oregon. Have you tried that? Are you a part of CVAN?
I'm a part of the senior disabled card in and when I signed up for the card initially, they said that do you want, you need that C-band? Do you want it? I'm like, I wouldn't really have to really need it because I'm like really close to all these buses anyway. And I get around pretty easily by bus in the first place. But Pat had brought up the fact he asked in the forum, he put a thing in the forum asking if there was somebody that might be able to give me a ride at times. And the first person that piped up was the radio guy. He says, "Oh, what part of Vancouver is he in?" And then I responded to that particular thing, and I kind of said kind of where I was, and I gave out my contact information. And then ever since that, there's been nobody saying anything.
A C-band is very convenient.
Oh, yeah.
No, in case there's places that you want to go that, I mean, you can go all the way up to Ridgegate with C-band. Or Ridge, I think it's Ridgewood. Anyway, a far part of Vancouver, almost out of Vancouver, like up to the mall. But anyway, so you have to apply separately for what they call the TriMet lift system in Oregon.
Yes,
so that would be very helpful. They'll pick you up in Jansen Beach, so you could take the 60 or 105 over to Jansen Beach area.
Right.
And then from there, you take that all the way to Oregon City. That might be the best. That would be your best bet because the bus doesn't actually go to the Grange.
Let me see. I was looking that up just a moment.
So anyway, we can talk more about it if you want some help with that because I can help you with that. I use a wheelchair, so it's very difficult for you to get there with just the.
Oregon City, Oregon City.
So Pat had to leave. I think we're gonna close this off pretty soon here. If everybody's good.
Yeah, let me see. I'm looking. Oh, come on, you. Yeah, let's see. Grange. I would say. Oh, well, I'd have to look up the, well, anyway.
Well, I can tell you right now, the 79 goes as close as you can to the ground, but it's probably too far to walk. I don't know how long you like to walk, but.
In my case, I've done well over, there was a time where I went someplace and I had to go 2 miles one direction after I got off the bus because of because the stinking bus never went up where I needed to go. So I was like, oh, well, I'll just go this way.
So it's pretty simple directions, but it is kind of a long walk. But that would be 79, and it doesn't run on weekends either. I don't think. I'll have to look at that up.
Let me see here.
So look at the 79. The 79 will take you to the Oregon City, or the 33 will take you to the Oregon City Transit Mall, and then you have to walk from there all to the Grange. So, and maybe pick you up there.
It does run on weekends.
The 79?
Yes, it does.
And it only comes like once an hour, right? I'm pretty sure.
Let me see. Saturdays.
So you can get the Clackamas Town Center. The 79 goes from Clackamas Town Center to the Oregon City Transit Mall.
Yeah. Or it says it runs. Let's see. From Clackamas Town Center, it runs 8:15 a.m. or 8:16 a.m. is the first one out of Clackamas Town Center. And then the next one from there is 8:56. So I think it goes it goes every 40 minutes on a weekend. That's right, it goes every 40 minutes. 40, yeah. But
Well, I gotta
anyway,
go. Anyway, nice chatting with you guys. Bye, Mark.
yeah,
Yep,
Bye.
I'm
Bye,
gonna
Derek.
get going.
all right, brother. If you, let's see, what am I gonna figure? If you wanted to, get a hold of me, for anything, I'll give you. Let's see, let me see, what's another thing? Oh, crud.
Just tell Franklin your phone number, your email address.
Yeah, that's what I'll certainly do about that. And I'll get right on that.
Or we'll get a hold of Julia if she knows where to get a hold of you.
All right, bye, everybody.
Yeah, Julia knows, but you know, yeah, I don't know when she would be coming down here because she didn't say.
I think Saturday.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll be talking to you later.
Oh, certainly, brother.